Look, I get it. I've experienced uncontrollable eating firsthand. It can be really rough. And when food is in charge of the decisions that you make, it can affect every aspect of your life. It can make things very difficult. Nobody wants to be bossed around by a batch of brownies. And as common as this problem is, and you're definitely not alone, the advice out there on how to correct it is just flat out horrible. So just know that you're not the only one who has listened to this advice and thought, you think I haven't tried this? It sounds really nice on paper, and I did exactly what you said, and yet here I am plowing through a box of donuts. So it was not so helpful, thanks anyways. What I really need you to get out of this video is that compulsive eating and binging and emotional eating, these are not personality traits. This is not about willpower, and any idiot that tells you that it is does not understand how the human body works at all. These folks should not be allowed to speak out loud. Just shut up because you're wrong. Uncontrollable binging is about physiological issues going on inside of your body, and no amount of willpower is going to get you past that. But you still can win if you learn how to work with your body instead of against it. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand how to turn this around. Let's jump in.
TC Hale is not a doctor and does not claim to be a doctor or licensed in any type of medical field. Don't be an idiot and use anything heard on the show as medical advice. This information should be used for educational purposes only, and you should contact your doctor for any medical advice. Now get off me.
The confusion about having control over your eating is that there truly is an emotional component to it for most people. And that's why advice like, just don't keep junk in your house where you can see it, can really help a small percentage of the population, while the rest of us are like, yeah, I got rid of it all, but they still have it at the store, and I know how to get to the store. The problem is when you start to change your relationship with food or how you view food, and that helps one person, they think that should help all people. And that's just not how it works in the real world. I've had clients that were seeing a therapist 3 or 4 days a week for over 10 years with no success. And then they use the information that you're going to learn in this video, and in a matter of weeks, all of a sudden they just didn't need to go to the therapist anymore. 3 to 4 days a week for 10 years? I'm pretty sure you could buy a speedboat with that kind of money. But that doesn't mean that therapy isn't helpful. It can really be helpful for some folks. But all she did was learn about how the human body works and why one person can have uncontrollable cravings and another person is fine, and then apply those principles to her life. So here's how it works. The body needs both minerals and glucose for a wide variety of functions. And if a person's minerals go too low, they can have a seizure, which is basically the whole body shutting down. And if a person's glucose goes too low, that person can have a seizure. But if both minerals and glucose go low at the same time, it's even more likely that they'll have a seizure. This can be the physiological force behind compulsive or emotional eating. Now, that doesn't mean that if you're craving Nutter Butters that you're about to have a seizure. It's another Nutter Butter alert! That's not how it works. And don't view that last binge on the gallon of Chubby Hubby ice cream like, oh, it's a good thing I ate all that ice cream or I would have had a seizure. That's not how it works. The body just gets a little bit defensive about seizures way ahead of time. It gets defensive about not having enough resources that it's going to shut the whole system down. And it plans way in advance. And it sends that signal like, hey, go give me something way before an actual problem is going to show up. So when you have the urge to stand in front of your pantry or lock yourself in your room so you can access that stash of Kit Kat bars under your mattress, is that really because of your emotional state? Is it because you're a compulsive person and that's just your personality? No. This is the response from a physiological signal that your body is sending, and it's an appropriate response. And it's one that no amount of willpower is going to be able to get you past on a consistent basis. You might be able to overpower a craving for a Zagnut bar at some point, but Zagnut bars are really not that good anyways. What if you crave a Twix bar? Twix bars are delicious. So you're going to give in and you might eat 6 or 7 Twix bars because your body is sending a signal saying that it is deficient in some area and it needs some help replacing that. The body is either feeling very low on minerals or very low on glucose to the point where it's going to make you do something about it. Do they even make Zagnut bars anymore? But what's important for us to understand is that minerals and glucose can both buffer each other. If minerals are too low, you can buffer those low minerals by raising glucose levels. You eat some carbohydrates or some sugar, and it buffers those low minerals and the system works okay. Same thing with glucose. If it goes too low, you can buffer that by raising minerals and everything is fine. So the real trouble happens when someone has both minerals and glucose going low at the same time. That's why someone can say, oh, I'm just going to have a few chips. And then, oh man, I ate the whole bag and the entire bucket of my kids' Halloween candy. I'm going to have to buy him a really big Spider-Man toy to make up for that. Because once you start putting sugar in the body and the body's like, oh, thank goodness, we're finally getting some fuel. Send more of that. Send lots more of that. It can be almost impossible to stop when the body is screaming for something that it's feeling like can make up for this emergency that it feels like it's in. At times, it can almost feel like we blacked out and just woke up in front of a pile of empty junk food packaging. Like, what is all this? Did I eat dryer sheets? Why is this empty too? You know, it's like you don't even know how you got there. It's like you're thinking, did aliens beam me up and then just drop me back off with all their garbage? But you know you didn't get abducted by aliens because you don't feel like you got probed and you just assume I had another insane, crazy binging episode and nothing in the house was safe. And this can happen more and more over time because if minerals are going low and you can eat some kind of easy to break down sugar or carbohydrates, you feel okay. But that's why when minerals or glucose or both are going low, the body will send a signal for either something sweet or something that has carbs in it or something salty, something that it can get minerals from. Different people will crave different things, but that's what the body's trying to do. It's just trying to make up for some type of deficit, and whether it's buffering the low minerals or buffering the low glucose, it's just saying, hey, you gotta get me something to take care of this low resource issue. So if minerals are too low, the best way to keep the body from screaming for carbs and sugars all day is to raise those mineral levels. Now you have that buffer. When blood sugar goes a little bit low, the minerals are there to help the body from saying, hey, I'm going to freak out here if you don't give me some French fries. And that can be the difference between two friends who eat pretty much the same, and one can have a handful of popcorn and stop, and the other one's asking about half the movie that they missed because they went back to the concession stand 4 times. One person has enough minerals in the system to buffer everything when the glucose goes too low and the other doesn't. Here's where the emotional side of eating comes into it. When we get stressed or we're upset, we actually move into the fight or flight state of the autonomic nervous system. This is the same state that your body would move into if it was being chased by a lion. Your body doesn't know that you're just stressed because of traffic or because your mom just doesn't understand you. No, your body thinks that you're being chased by a lion and then it needs to do something to keep you alive. So to deal with this, your body wants more fuel that it can use immediately. So it just sends the signal for blueberry pancakes that can be easily broken down and turned into glucose. The real ripoff is that you don't even actually have to be dealing with any stress in your life or be upset to have this happen. If the body is stressed, you can get the same result. If you're very low on nutritional resources or minerals, that's a big stress to the body. That's like trying to pay $800 worth of bills with $8. That's a big stress. So your body can be stressed even when you're not. And that's why it sends the signal for more food. Give me more. I'm not getting enough. I need more resources to feel better about what's going on. And that's why we eat in the first place. We don't eat so we have something to do while your kid's watching Daniel Tiger. We eat so we can access the nutrients in those foods. We need the vitamins, the minerals, the amino acids, those dietary fats. We need all that stuff. But to access those nutrients, we need to be able to break the food down correctly. Now, minerals can go low for a wide variety of reasons, but the most common problem is digestive malfunctions. So if you're having trouble with compulsive or binge or emotional eating, you want to check in with your digestive symptoms. Let's take a look at that list. If you're burping or bloating or have constipation or diarrhea or acid reflux, nausea, if you experience indigestion or seeing undigested food in your stool, or you're having a lot of stomach discomfort or unexplained weight gain or acne, or if blood pressure is lower than 112/78, it's very likely that you're not digesting your food well enough to pull all the nutrients out of that food. And as long as you're not getting the nutrients that you need from the food that you're eating, you're going to have very little control over what you eat or when you eat it. As long as your nutritional resources are low, the signals that your body is sending you are going to be way too strong to overcome. So if you're dealing with any of those digestive symptoms that we just talked about, if you want to improve any type of compulsive eating, you first need to improve your digestion. Once your body can get what it actually needs, it won't continue to send you signals that make you think it's a good idea to put Lucky Charms in a taco shell. You'll get to actually feel like a human. It's pretty great. Now, in order to improve digestion, you need to understand how digestion is supposed to work. So we have a totally free online digestion course that you can register for free. We'll put the link down below in the description. And this course will help you walk through figuring out which aspects of digestion might be a problem for you and steps you can take to improve those. For now, it's important to understand that the cravings can trigger the emotional or uncontrolled eating. So click now to watch the How to Fix Cravings Fast video, and that'll kind of walk through the mineral and glucose relationship like we just talked about, but it also dives deeper into malfunctions that can happen with digestion and ways to fix them. So you're going to want to go gain those insights now. I can't wait to hear about your results.